talked a little bit about, what good looks like, but it would be really good to get some concrete examples of an existing ecosystem which is brilliant for both businesses within it and also the customers who use it. Have you got any examples that you can share?
Yeah, and we've built ecosystems for a number of different use cases. We've done it for lending, we've done it for business banking, we've done it for mortgages. Mortgages is quite an interesting one. I'll use that as an example because applying for a mortgage has so much friction in it. I'm sure many people listening to this will have gone through the stress of applying for a mortgage, getting an agreement in principle, having to send loads of documents in, you know, you get a call back, perhaps 2 weeks later about whether it's affordable or not before you get your final offer. It's quite a stressful and slow process. And actually, so if you take the principle I was talking about before, Emma, actually you take a customer-centric view. What would you want to happen when you're applying for a mortgage? Actually, that journey might start on Rightmove, where you're identifying your house. And actually, there's a lot of information on Rightmove. That data should be persistent into the mortgage application. You should be able to apply for a mortgage with the bank actually using all the data that they have. If your income comes into another bank account, then actually you should be able to just allow open banking to ingest that information and get real-time decisioning on it. So we will want to get to a place where we could agree a mortgage against a property relatively quickly. And then what happens next? Well, actually, you go on to a conveyancing angle, which is equally, painful with friction in it. So actually, we partnered with a e-conveyancing solution that actually had the data persisting through it into the e-conveyancing, so you didn't have to fill out the same information onto the same forms in 3 or 4 different places. And actually, if you extend that right to the end of the process, we had a fintech that actually could just move in, that allowed you to actually move all your utility bills on the day of completion. It did all that work for you as you moved into your property. So when we think about a customer journey, it's not applying for a mortgage, it's actually moving home. Yeah. And it starts on Rightmove and ends with you moving in, and there's a mortgage process in between. And if you can get banks to think about the customer journey and the most friction-free process through that for a customer, I think that's where the future is going for financial services. So that's the example I'd use of the sort of thinking and mentality we have and the sort of capabilities that ecosystems can provide from that end-to-end journey.
One, I fully agree with John, and I think, we're seeing a lot of examples on the go in the market at the moment around institutions who can really build their best-in-breed modern banking offerings, whether that's in retail or commercial or business banking, by just picking the best-of-breed solutions that they want to piece together. And we're seeing a lot of success from that. We're seeing the value of that. And I think, the next step of that is really looking at, towards embedded finance. And we're seeing a lot of examples now, especially around business banking scenarios where, being a big growth industry and looking at how really modern lending products can fit into point of sale activities of businesses and bring lending to them when they need it by connecting the right ecosystem components together into the right channels.
And what would you say could be done to make an ecosystem, some of those really good examples? what does the future look like? What can be done to make ecosystems like this even better? Where are you seeing the next sort of let's talk in 2 years. So the next 2 years, what does that look like from an ecosystem perspective?
I think what we're finding is that we're having to spend more and more time, from a strategy perspective, understanding what the future of the financial services products or services would be, because this isn't the technology discussion. It's actually, it's providing the services that customers want in the future. So that is quite a strategic bit of analysis and discussions that we're having. But I think we're spending even more time trying to identify what the best ecosystem partners are to deliver that, because there's a plethora of ecosystems out there. And actually, Emma, what I was describing earlier about the complexity of actually finding them, making sure they've got the right fit, making sure they bring the right innovation, making sure they've got the right compatibility and interoperability, and then making sure they're safe and secure and the due diligence around those elements. So actually, there's quite a lot of time and effort to make sure that you're building the right ecosystem for the right use case that's going to meet the need that consumers want or colleagues want for the future. And I think that's something we're continuing to bolster our capability, because we realize that's the secret sauce. If you get the right proposition right and you get the right ecosystem members correct, then you can do some amazing things. If you don't get those things right, then it becomes more difficult.